I'm your host, Jordy Hernandez, also known as the RV Tour Guy. I've been in the RV industry for 7+ years, lived full-time in an RV with my wife Jennifer, and now I'm here to bring you an authentic conversation with young travelers, everyday RV owners, dealership insiders, and eventually the CEOs and decision makers shaping this lifestyle. This podcast isn't about selling you a dream. It's about showing you the real side of RVing when you're young, hungry, and chasing freedom on 4 wheels. We'll share fails, wins, road hacks, deep stories, and honest insights into the RV world. Whether you're full-timing, just shopping, or wondering if the RV life is for you, this show's for you. So hit that subscribe button, give us a follow, and let us grow this thing together. This is just the beginning. Welcome to Young Rving.
What's up, guys? This is Jordy Hernandez, aka RV Tour Guy, and I'm with Colin Sekal, my diesel rep for Thor Motor Coach. He's a great guy. We're going to dive into this awesome motorhome, the Pasadena. This is a great motorhome. I'm going to flip the camera over to Colin, and we're going to start episode 1 today.
What's going on? Colin Sekal here, Thor Motor Coach diesel rep, and I'm the product lead for this as well when it comes to product development. And we have a 2026 Pasadena here. Really excited to show it off. Number one, I think it looks beautiful. I think you guys will probably agree. We'll see a little bit more of the graphic as we work our way around. This one is cool because it's equipped with what we call our stealth package. So you see the blacked out wheels, black bumper, blackout mirror caps, all the logos are black. A lot of really cool accents there as we work our way back. But yeah, this is the Mac Daddy. This is really kind of the start of real deal Super Cs on Freightliner chassis. So big old 295 section tires. That's much bigger than you're normally used to seeing on a Super C RV. Full pass-through storage as well. We won't open up all the bays for you, but we'll show one off here for you. It's going to be actually full pass-through. Most in this segment are not going to have full pass-through, so really good thing to have for longer items, fishing poles, whatever it may be. So any of these that are storage will have that full pass-through, but there's our new graphic. Got the octagon kind of fade in there too, which is pretty slick. Tankless hot water heater. Moving our way to the rear axle, you might be thinking, oh, why is it so low? Well, that's going to be air ride in the rear. So what's really cool about that is unlike some of the lighter duty Super Cs and normal Cs, where this is just a leaf spring suspension, this is going to be full air ride. So when the airbags are inflated, it's going to rise, obviously, at least a few inches, give you good ground clearance. And then no matter what you put into the unit, with cargo, yourselves, liquids, all that, it's going to maintain that ride height. So really good ride height out of this platform. On the rear, we're going to have a 15,000 pound hitch. So that's very unique to this motorhome. And for this dollar amount, it is really tough to find a 15,000 pound towing RV. So that's really the beauty of this motorhome, is that you can really get into towing some fun toys, or just have that capability if you're just towing your tow vehicle too. So it works for both.
We can go inside and check out the inside.
Killer.
This thing is, we walked through it this morning and it was awesome.
Let's check her out. So this is our 38FX floor plan. This is our single bath, so real big emphasis on the living space. We have our, theater seats here that are going to be opposed from the straight sofa. No, we didn't put the TV in a bad location. We actually have a TV on a TV lift here. All you do is press a button, that'll come right up. Extra window space if you didn't want it. Booth dinette, really good size. This raised cab over has always been a hit as well.
So, how tall are you?
I'm 6'5".
And 6'5"? Can you stand there so you
I am,
can show the viewers how big and...
Normally it's the opposite. Normally I'm good at making these units look small, but this unit's a monster. So wow. Got the big raised cab over. This will come down with power as well if you wanted it to. But really big window up there, and just great sleeping space, and it makes the whole unit feel much bigger. We got that vent that'll push air right into the cab over too. That's really tough to find. And as you work your way back, one of the biggest kitchens that we're going to have in any of our Super C products. Really nice to have this pull out as well. So we have this big monster pull out, gives you extra countertop space. As we work our way back, dual fuel cooktop, really important. A lot of companies will just run the induction. So if you're trying to cook eggs in the morning, you're dry camping, you got to turn on that generator. With this, having the propane, you don't have to do that. Really cool deal. Really good sized bath. Let Jordy take you in there, but yeah, great size shower. Plenty of storage space too, a big mirror. And in any one of our floor plans, this one included, we're going to actually include a stackable washer dryer standard. So most companies will force you into either a combo, but having this as a standard is very, very tough to find. It's actually not existing out there. Some floor plans have it, but most do not. Ton of storage across too, because we have our tilt view bed, which is also a king size bed. So again, a lot of other manufacturers force you into a queen back here, but we're gonna have this big king that you can actually sit up in bed, watch TV, read a book, all the good stuff.
Sweet. Colin, thank you for being here. We only have one mic, unfortunately. It's my first show, so I got a mic on order for a future guest, but we'll do another one whenever you come back. We're in Spring, Texas, north of Houston, and I know you're based out in Denver.
Yep.
But you mainly work all over the country, so we really appreciate you having us and sharing all your insights and information about this Pasadena. So I'm really thankful and grateful for you being here, and you got to start somewhere. So I got a few questions for you, Colin. I came prepared.
Yeah, that's it.
So I'm gonna ask the question and then I'll pass you the mic.
Cool.
So Colin, how did you get into the RV industry, and what was your first real exposure to diesel coaches? Any mentors or stories that shaped your path?
Sure. Thank you, sir. Yeah, kind of funny. I feel like it's an unusual story in our industry. Normally it's kind of, you either start on the retail side or you kind of have somebody in the industry that you knew and kind of got you in, but I always say that I fell into it. I was coming back from school and my family had relocated to Elkhart, Indiana, which, as you know, is the heart of RV manufacturing.
Right.
And I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life, and I had a business degree and just figured I would find an entry-level sales gig, which I did. It's in our industry, it's called a sales trainer role, which is just all the grunt work and developing training materials, doing a lot of factory tours. I think they threw me into a factory tour like 3 days in.
How old were you when you first started?
Oh man, would have been it's easy math, about 10 years ago, probably 24, 25.
24, 25.
Yeah, and funny enough, ended up where I am today, but that kind of ties into my first experience with RVs too, because I'll fully admit, despite what I might have said in the interview, I had no experience with RVs whatsoever.
Yeah.
And after about a year-ish doing it and learning all the products and learning how to sell, which is a whole different animal, actually had the opportunity to, one of our employees at the time, he had a Palazzo 33.5, like the one in the showroom there. And we just decided, hey, we're gonna, just do kind of a sales team building little golf trip. And that was, I think, about 6 hours north in Michigan. And so we all hopped in.
Beautiful state.
And it was incredible. And especially once you get out to the coast, which this golf course was on, it was awesome. And that's when I fully realized how incredible RVs are. When I swear, we teleported up there, just hanging out, playing some cards, and just made that whole trip effortless. So that was really kind of the start of the love for me. And that's turned into, we have some vacation coaches, what we call them. So, and we really encourage our engineers and sales team and all that to use the units so that they can help, develop the products further and just make them more usable in everyday scenarios. So I've taken a few trips like that as well, more than a few, but yeah, that's always been.
That's pretty cool how like Thor and all these big companies encourage their employees to take them out on the road. Once you start RVing, especially when you're in sales, you fall in love with this lifestyle, and you just become passionate about it, and you just want to tell the whole world about it. So I can imagine that's really cool that Thor was able to let you guys use a few $100,000 motor coaches and fall in love with that lifestyle. So absolutely. So 24 years old, getting into the industry, you just you never left. You always stayed in the RV industry.
What ended up being that kind of resume builder is what I thought. Ended up I fell in love with the industry and nice. It was here I am, same company, almost 11 years later.
Were you the youngest when you first started in 24?
I was pretty young, yeah. I remember being one of the youngest at that time. I think I was the youngest, and and it was a little bit unusual, but just felt like the right fit, and everything was good after that.
Yeah, I started when I was 19 years old. I couldn't even drink alcohol. And my coworkers were, the next youngest was like, I think 33.
Fair.
And then from there it goes to 45, and then 50, and then 60, 65, 70. So I was the youngest, and now I see a lot of people migrating to the RV industry and some even younger than me, you know, which is, you know, I remember when I started. So do you see the same thing happening? Is there more people
Sure,
getting
yeah.
into the industry?
Yeah, I definitely think a little bit younger has definitely kind of crept in for sure and into an industry that was typically much older. And we have a lot of examples of that on our sales side. There's a lot more younger guns than I am now, that's for sure.
Are they RVing, you think, or
Yeah, definitely. And as far as retails, yeah, you know, that's definitely a shift that we're seeing on all segments, but certain segments more than others.
Right.
But all segments are seeing a nice trend downwards, and you know, like a unit like this, that's, you know, a little bit higher price point. You know, you would imagine that that's not the case, but it absolutely is.
Because that was actually going to be my next question about what are you seeing from millennials and Gen Z RV buyers? Are they influencing design choices in diesel coaches?
100%. I think you can, you know, the easy way to tell that would be to look back, you know, 5-10 years ago to design, and I think
brown.
Oh yeah, brown. And it was funny. I used to joke that, you know, the more expensive the units got, the more Vegas-y they got.
Yeah.
There's still some brands out there that I feel like are kind of that same deal today, but we've come a long ways with trying to stay ahead of the curve. And our designer goes out every year to the Kitchen and Bath Show out in Vegas, and
right.
just seeing the latest trends and everything that I've seen, you know, interior design-wise from a younger audience,
Yeah.
has started to really make its way into the units, and I think we're kind of known for that as a manufacturer, both inside and out. That exterior graphic is super, super, super modern by comparison to a lot are more swoopy, and we just wanted to get, you know, away from that and do something more contemporary, and I think everybody likes that, not just a younger buyer.
Right, 100%.
Yep.
Oh no, I've seen a lot of changes from like all being everything, like smart TVs or even just stuff for pets. Like, you know, I guess me personally, I don't have kids yet, but I can imagine a lot of people starting families and them, you know, growing up RVing, and now they have their own families, and then they're taking their kids out RVing, and they're like late 20s, early 30s, you know. So that's pretty cool.
For sure. No, and that's, yeah, we've always been friendly to pets too for that exact reason. We're definitely seeing a lot more of that in the units, and we got a couple of features that we like to incorporate in that are great.
Yeah, no, 100%. For someone new to RVing, especially younger buyers, diesels might sound intimidating or overkill.
Sure.
Why should a younger buyer seriously consider a diesel motorhome like a Pasadena or a Riviera or even an Aria?
Great question. It's something that we, you know, talk about a lot, and it's so easy on the surface to look at that big price tag and just assume that it's a lot of luxury, which it is. There's a lot of luxury features and items and you know, quality of life things, but the real cool part about jumping up into a diesel is that, especially if you consider the overall ownership period of the motorhome, in a lot of ways you can come out ahead. And what I mean by that is, it probably sounds like just spend more money. But the reality of it, if you look at the used market, and super seats especially, but also A diesel pushers, anything on a Freightliner chassis, I would argue, really fares much better on a resale basis. And you know, a lot of people are a little intimidated by, you know, what does it cost to service one of these motorhomes, which is a little bit more expensive than a traditional Class C or Class A gas, but the intervals are twice as long. So it's every 15,000 miles versus every 7,500, and you know, by making that initial jump to something like this, you can kind of isolate yourself from, you know, some of that depreciation that you might get in a towable, or you know, something that's just doesn't carry that same level of want in the used market.
Right, 100%. Because you were telling, like, these are built to last. Longevity is something that, you know, these diesel coaches stick out. Like when you were telling me about how this is built from the ground up, the Atlas foundation on the Pasadena, you know, being a steel frame, but also, you know, being very innovative and lightweight, but also not cutting corners. Like each product that on this Pasadena, for example, you guys built the 38 FX to be designed this way, you know, from the slide outs. There's no copy and paste, in other words, like some less expensive alternatives, whether it be a trailer or a gas motorhome, where a lot of manufacturers copy and paste. Like this diesel pusher, there was a lot more thought and innovation behind it to be able to tow 15,000 pounds and also be able to do what you guys do on this product.
Certainly.
So I do agree with that point, you know, that point that you have. So
For sure. That's definitely.
Sorry about that. I got a phone call. Man, I'm still working a job, so this is my passion project. So I put my phone on silent.
Love it. But yeah, it all starts with good frame and foundation and build, and that's something that we take very, very seriously. We're the largest manufacturer in the world when it comes to anything motorized that's an RV, so we have a lot of resources at our fingertips to do that. It's very, very expensive to do it that way, and it's much easier and more cost effective to do kind of a cookie cutter build.
Yeah.
And, just kind of arrange things how you see fit, where building a unit from the ground up to become this exact unit really has its advantages. 15,000 pound tow is a key example there. The only way we can get that done is by proving the Freightliner that our build could handle that, right? No competitors done that. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that goes into these.
100%. No, I agree. After seeing the quality of this product, it definitely shows. What does it actually take to design and launch a new diesel motorhome? Could you give us a peek behind the curtain from a concept to prototype to final product?
Sure, 100%. Yeah, it always starts with an idea, right?
In a nutshell. I know there's a lot that goes on.
For sure. Yeah, you got a couple hours now. I'll summarize it pretty well. But a lot of it starts with an idea of like either a segment that we may be missing. This one is a really good example. We have A diesel pushers that are in the same price range, which are great. A lot of pros and cons to both an A diesel pusher versus this. But one of the key advantages here is that we can tow 15,000 pounds, which in A diesel world, you normally have to go up to a tag axle motorhome,
right,
which is easily going to eclipse $500,000. So
100%.
We're much less than that here. And we recognize that need. And so from there, we kind of look at some of the other brands that we manufacture. Are there any similarities in that build process? Most of the time it is kind of a clean sheet, especially when you're using a new chassis. That means that we now, our engineering team and full product development team, they're going to work incredibly hard at developing every bit of the prints of kind of designing this motorhome behind the scenes before we can get even close to developing a prototype.
100%.
And what's cool too is we have a process which is basically where we'll, especially when it comes to floor plans, we really want to get a good eye on the floor plan before it actually even is built as a prototype. And so we actually have this entire, we call it a prototype buck.
Yeah.
And we'll basically lay out this entire floor plan with wood, both slides in and slides out, which is really important, as you know.
Right.
Really nice to have egress moving, through the motorhome. So that gives us a good early look at what the product's going to look like when it's, before it's even in the prototype phase. But then from there, we end up just building it like we traditionally would build a unit. We schedule it the exact same way.
Right.
And it's going to come off of production, and then we make tweaks from there. But,
100%.
Yeah,
No, that question is like, there's a lot that goes into it. It takes years to develop a certain layout. So it's, the way you worded it was great because, a lot of, I always say there's no secret RVs out there. And, but this one is pretty cool because my favorite quote is, "The good artist copy, great artist steal." And a lot of the RV world is people copying each other,
sure, and
trying to replicate. But what you can't really replicate this product because you guys put a lot of R&D behind it. A lot of thought. I mean, people try to, but you can't get close to that 15,000 pound towing. That's a big thing, especially within young RVers that are interested in this type of motorhome because of the lifestyle they live. I know a lot of people in their 30s and 40s, and that's young for a diesel owner because, the norm was like 65 and 55. But you got these people that have their own companies, very successful people, and they've been able to, build their brand from the ground up. And now they're at a point in life where they want to take their kids out. They want to share their hobbies. Like a big one is like NASCAR and Formula F1 racing. And, a lot of people got these stackable trailers that are super heavy, 10,000, 12,000. Heck, some of them more than that.
Sure.
I definitely seen that trend of a lot of younger buyers taking their families out in these hobbies. I mean,
yeah, no, that's really what this whole RV was built to fulfill, was that exact scenario. That maybe you don't want to spend $1 million on some crazy, rig that can do all that. We give you a fully well-rounded package that's going to do everything that you want and
100%.
then some.
So business never stops here at the dealership. What is the biggest myth or a misunderstanding people have about diesel motorhomes, and how would you debunk it?
Yeah, fair enough. One thing I'm recognizing, especially recently, is it's so easy for customers to get something in their head in terms of the power level that they want. And so they'll always ask, okay, what's this got for power? And every different product has a different power level, and we choose that accordingly to the weight of the unit. And that's what nobody ever considers or thinks about.
Power to weight ratio.
It's everything. It's absolutely everything. And it's so funny, the analogy that I use is like, you can throw a Corvette motor into a Silverado and drag race versus a Corvette. Which one's going to win the race every single time? The Corvette. It's all power to weight ratio. And bigger engines are great, and they come at a cost, right? So there's definitely a level that's a very good happy medium, and I guess what I would encourage is for customers to get very well versed in how to figure out, because this is really not clear, and I haven't really seen a good kind of how-to in the marketplace of how to figure out what the dry weight, so basically the base weight before you load anything into a motorhome, what it actually weighs.
Right.
And so, and the reason that nobody really publishes that, I wish we did, because that's where we have a really big advantage as a manufacturer, because every single floor plan and every single option package is a completely different weight. So we'd have to publish hundreds and hundreds of weights. But basically, the quick and easy way to do it is you'll find a yellow sticker on the interior of a motorhome. Normally it's on the entry door. And that's going to have the biggest number on it is called cargo carrying capacity.
Right.
All you do is subtract that from the gross vehicle weight rating, and you're going to get your dry weight. This one here, I would estimate, is going to be in the low to mid 20s. So this has 800 pound-feet of torque, 360 horsepower, and so I get so many customers that will say, "Oh, I have to have 450 and 1250 pound-feet of torque." You have units like that, like a Phaeton Tag would be a good example. Not to talk about competitors too directly, but any tag axle motorhome
within the family.
Yeah, I mean, that fair, and also another product that you carry. But there's, and we used to manufacture those as well. Big tag axle, over 40 feet motorhomes.
Right.
In a lot of cases, those would weigh upwards of 40,000 pounds.
Right.
So when you do that comparison, yes, you have 1,250 pound-feet of torque, but the power to weight ratio is actually worse.
Right, because you're almost double the weight.
Exactly.
So, this one's close to 25,000 pounds, has 360 horsepower, versus the Coach that has, 40,000 pounds of weight, and then only 450. A little bit more torque. You're talking about maybe 450, 500 pound-feet of torque.
Yep.
But you're double the weight. So yeah, I agree. I'd take this over any 42, 45 foot tag axle for sure.
No, and there's pros and cons to both, but you have to be versed in that power to weight, because you can end up spending well over $500,000 for a worse performing product.
Right. 100%. That's a great take. I agree with that. If a young couple walks into a dealership overwhelmed and unsure, what's the first thing you tell them when considering a diesel coach? In your case, at an RV show, someone comes up to you.
Sure. Yeah, I would hit them with a lot of what I talked about earlier, which is, consider your overall ownership and what you're going to use it for. What I love about diesel pushers and this Super C here is that, and we make products all the way down to a little 22-foot Class C, all the way up to, big 40-foot diesel pushers. There's something for everybody. We manufacture something for everybody. But really, truly consider your use case. What I love about diesels is that there's really no top to the use case.
Right.
There's not anything that you're going to shy away from. Not that all our motorhomes can't do a cross-country trip all the way up to Alaska.
Right.
But some are going to be more comfortable than others, right? So if you dream of doing things like that, that's what I love about diesels, is it's never going to hold you back. It's going to be as good as that quick weekend trip down the road as going all the way up to Alaska and back, right? You're going to get the power, you're going to get the ride, you have air ride seats, you have air rides in the rear, you're going to have all the capability that you want now and forever, and you're not going to feel like you need to, quickly a trap that a lot of customers will fall in, and some of the more smart customers that I've met at shows that have chosen to go into diesels is that they've done the research, and they've just seen so many of their peers, or I've seen online where customers they'll get into a gas Class C, they'll go up to a Class A gas, they'll go up to they have this whole kind of upgrade process where when you cut that all out and you realize, oh, this is what I really want for my usage, and go straight to a diesel pusher or straight to a Super C, you can end up saving a ton of money at the end of the day, and time too.
And that's a great advice for not just the younger RVer, but just new RVers in general, because a lot of people are even unsure if they want a RV. They just think they do, but once they get in it and they're hooked, I always tell people it's an investment for your happiness, not a financial investment. So I agree 100%. This is more of to add to that, who would you recommend new coaches to? As far as, do you think, I guess I know the answer, but I just wanted to take your take on it, because I know a lot of people get into this industry, or start looking at RVs, and they're undecided between new and used. So I mean, what do you think? Who do you think new coaches are for? But
well, absolutely, curious. Everybody should buy new. First off, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, there's a
if you can afford to, it's the best way. You get a warranty. There's a lot of pros, but I just want to take your take on that.
I always feel comfortable when kind of back to that, when your use case, what you're going to use it for, and the customers that I have had buy multiple motorhomes. The one thing that they tell me is, find that floor plan that you love and you can see yourself living it. And once you find that and that's the one, then I wouldn't hesitate to buy new. Pros and cons to both, obviously. You can probably get it at a little bit lower dollar amount if you're really still unsure if you like the lifestyle, or if it's something that you're unsure about in the floor plan, then I can totally get that. But if you're sure about how you're going to use it, and you're sure about the floor plan that you like, whether it's a bath and a half, this is a single bath with a ton of living space, so there's pros and cons to every floor plan. Once you get that nailed down, then it's a no-brainer. You have all the peace of mind in the world. We're always going to take care of you as a manufacturer. We have more service centers nationwide than anybody in the industry. Same thing goes for Freightliner. They have more service locations that can actually service the rig than anybody that's a chassis manufacturer. So really just a ton of backing there, and the warranties too. I mean, full warranty on everything.
Right, peace of mind.
Yep, full peace of mind. And back to that longevity piece, it's crazy, the warranties on Freightliner chassis.
100,000 mile warranties, 5-year warranties from Freightliner, 24/7 roadside assistance. I mean, or technical support through the mobile app.
Yep, 24/7 technical support through us. And
through Thor. Yep. Go Rving.
The one that I haven't seen anybody beat yet, but I'd love to see beaten is the transmission warranty is actually 5-year, 200,000 miles.
Wow, from Allison Transmission.
Yeah, so
wow.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Funny enough, met someone that owns a tag axle Venetian. It was a 2000 and I want to say it's a 23.
Okay.
Tag axle Venetian, and it had, I'm not even kidding, it had 300,000 miles on it.
That's amazing. Well, he
was a professional gambler, and he would drive to Vegas and Louisiana back.
Okay, that's awesome.
And he did it. Isn't crazy. It's 300,000 miles.
We love hearing that. That's why we built them, and that's what we build them for.
Talk about a great deal if you ever find that guy on Marketplace. That should be a good deal. But that just shows the longevity of the product. So 100%. I mean, if you can afford to buy new, I always recommend new. I've owned 3 RVs since I've been RVing. 2 of them were new, 1 of them was pre-owned. There's definitely advantages to both, but the thing I would say with new is what you're getting.
Yes.
You have the support. Like you said, if you find the right unit that fits your needs and you commit, like a marriage, if you want to keep it for as long as possible, then I would always go new. If you're unsure of what you want, or if your game plan on owning an RV and traveling is very limited, a few years, and you're gonna want to trade up or trade down, then I definitely encourage people to go used. But I mean, it's like a new house. People are still gonna buy a new house. People are gonna buy an older house, With RVs is no different, you know, but I'd consider both options. But as far as loans go, financing goes, a lot of banks are more willing to go longer or give you better terms if you just go new. So if you can afford it, it makes sense. I always encourage people to go new. I mean, I've bought 2 new ones myself. So one segment I want to start is this lightning round. So quick, easy answers, just see your take. But the first question is your favorite Thor diesel coach of all time.
Oh man, I love these Pasadenas, man. These they really just so much value for the money.
Really? Is that your favorite diesel pusher that you've? I mean,
diesel pusher. You know, we've had some really cool ones over the day, or you know, over the years. You know, there's a lot. I love our short little Palazzos. They're do it all for, you know, very affordable as well.
If you have to pick one model, one brand, what is it?
Let's go Thor Aria 3901.
3901,
Yep.
bath and a half, great layout. I'm not mad at that. That's a good one. For me personally, I know you guys don't sell them anymore, but we had a 2021 a Thor Venetian.
Yep.
It was a 40R. I thought that was pretty slick.
Yeah, same floor plan as the 3901.
Same layout.
Trim, yeah.
Just the Venetian trim,
Yep.
400 horse. Man, I thought it was a slick ride.
For sure.
So that was my favorite diesel of all time. And that was my first new Thor diesel that I've ever sold, so that's probably why. I actually sold a 19 Venetian too, so
Killer.
So yeah, Venetian all the way.
I think I remember that back in the day.
Yeah, I'm a little biased to that question. But the Arias are great. They're like basically what the Venetians used to be. Now they're all electric on the Aria.
Yeah.
So can't complain on those. Those are great choice. Coolest feature you've personally seen on a diesel coach?
I love our new, so we added a Wi-Fi module to the whole house control system.
Yeah.
And I just love that functionality. So basically, in a nutshell, what that allows you to do, and typically you don't see it until much more expensive units, is we've had a mobile app for a few years that you can control the whole house, the slides, lights, awnings, generator, temperature, you know, and that was Bluetooth range around the unit, so 50 feet. Now with that Wi-Fi module, if it's hooked up properly, you can remotely control it from anywhere. So I can be out at dinner, I can cool the unit down before I get back to it. If I, you know, forgot to bring the awning in or whatever, it has a motion sensor, but you know, it's always nice to just bring it in and have that peace of mind. So I love that new feature. It's cool.
I agree. I mean, the fact that you can, like you said, get on your phone, turn on the generator, set the temperature, all from anywhere, it's pretty impressive. So I would agree with that. I mean, that's something that you just told me about today, and I agree. That's probably my favorite feature on the new products that you guys are launching. So that's great. Biggest pet peeve you see RVers do with diesel rigs?
Ooh, man.
We might have to cut this on.
Just take those weekend trips at them and not go all the way to Alaska and back. Not put enough miles on, I guess, would be a quick and easy one.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, like just, hey, we're just gonna buy it and take it to the, you know, few miles there and then a few miles back.
Use them, enjoy.
Yeah, they're designed to run miles, so use them.
Absolutely.
Man, what is my pet peeve? Man, I don't have one. I'm gonna just say I don't have one. What would you rather, full time in a Class A diesel or a Super C like this one?
There's just nothing like no schedule, you know, full time Class A diesel pusher. I mean, it's just
it's a way to go, right? I think that's the pinnacle.
It's ultimate freedom.
100%. You're not
tied down. I mean, you know, doing a little bit shorter trips or, you know, mixing in some hotels, you can still do that with diesel pushers, but I love that. For me, it's all about this whole lifestyle. It's all about freedom, and that's peak freedom.
100%. What's the one upgrade every new diesel buyer should consider?
They're perfect as is from the factory.
There you go.
No, I mean, there's some stuff you can consider. You know, but truthfully, once you get up to this level, they're all, you know, super fully equipped. There shouldn't be much that you...
Right. This is going to tie into this next question. If Thor made a Gen Z targeted diesel, what feature must it have?
Ooh.
I'm thinking like a coffee bar, espresso bar that just comes out of the slide out. So I feel like that would be essential. My wife loves coffee. So I think just like a pull-out pantry with a coffee bar would be my take.
What's your go-to on coffee machines, or do you have like a You know, one that you
My
like?
wife got me into espresso, so
Okay,
I'd
good.
say espresso. I'm not a big, that's what she likes, and I you know, she'll make
Good.
me one every now and then, and I seem to like it. You
Love
know.
hearing that. We'll consider it.
Sticking my pinky out when I drink it.
That's the real reason, right?
And this is my last question for Colin. Now, I appreciate you coming
course.
along and spending this much time
Appreciate you having me.
on being first guest on the podcast.
Making history.
What's your go-to campfire meal or drink after a long drive?
Ooh, I'm an old-fashioned guy, so definitely
Nice.
there. Man, meal. I'm a sucker for just the easy stuff. Just whether that's a hot dog, hamburger, whatever it is, I just love that.
Yeah.
After a super long day, I'm in.
And man, I think you hit it on the head with the old-fashioned. That's
For sure.
that, or you know, if you're going to Colorado, you have to do some quarter banquets. So that's
There you
my
go.
next best thing. So.
Good deal.
That's it, man. First podcast in the books. If you enjoyed this episode, please share your feedback in the comments down below. I'm going to be here in DeMontron, Rving in Spring, Texas. Colin is traveling all over, so you might see him at some RV shows near you. What are the shows still going on, or are you pretty much
here
done?
and
Which
there.
is the next show you're attending?
Probably the next biggest one would be Hershey up in Pennsylvania, so it's September. Not
Nice.
super close, but some small ones here and there.
Sweet. Yeah, and then we normally have our big RV show. The season starts in Tampa in January, and then we have the Houston show in February. So
Looking forward to that.
Hopefully this episode blows up by then, so this guy can be here to answer all your questions for all the new RVers getting into this lifestyle. So man, can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Really enjoyed it.